With my autoimmune, it's like psoriatic arthritis, so it just attacks like joints, ligaments, tendons, and it's the hardest thing to manage. But I just get these niggles that just pop up, and I'm just like, where has this come from? Like, I was going to the physio for back pain, just thinking, no, it was tight, and then I've got this bilateral arthritis in my spine. I've got like a chest issue, and then my fingers hurt and my knees ache and my Achilles are always just grumpy with me. And I just never know what's coming next, and as an athlete, that's the hardest thing. Injuries have definitely always been a kind of a part of my journey. I remember having like knee issues, Achilles issues when I was younger, just because I was growing so fast. I think the hardest thing for me at that age was just kind of not knowing why I was breaking down or hurting. Like I had a stress fracture in my back going to New Zealand secondary schools, and then later on to New Zealand under-21s, I had the exact same injury. And just doing everything by the book, but still not quite being 100% physically. Getting named in the Botswana World Cup team was just like a massive highlight of my life. And then when I was injured with another stress fracture in my back, I will just forever be in debt to Kitty Wills for taking me, because she could have easily left me at home. Like, I was only able to play every second day, and I remember talking to her, be like, are you sure you want to take me? Like, I don't want to let the team down. And she's like, I'm sure. Like, you've worked so hard for this and you're the right person for our team. Like, we want to take you. And I remember being like, okay, and she was like, and to let you know, there's a day off between the semi and the final, so your 2 days, you're sweet, you're sorted. I was like, if you're sure, then yep, I'll come and I will give it 110%. Winning and the final whistle going was just, it wasn't so much excitement at first, it was like relief that we did it. My debut was so special. It was at like North Shore Event Centre, like all of my family and friends were there. It's hard to explain. Like when you've watched this team your whole life and then you're lining up in the dress singing the anthem, it's surreal almost.
Well, if you ever had any doubts about what it means and the weight of that black dress on a young New Zealand netballer, just remember the face of Michaela Sokolich-Beatson.
But then when you actually play, it's a bit like you kind of look around and you're like, does anyone realise that we're playing for the Silver Ferns right now? It's just me that realises this. And then when you're on the court, it's game mode as usual. But then afterwards to go celebrate with my friends, my family, it was a really nice feeling, and just knowing that I'd done it. If it was 1 cap, if it was 100 caps, like I'm a Silver Fern now, and I can say that proudly for the rest of my life. I'm quite realistic when it comes to selections. If I look at the 2019 World Cup team and I look at the defenders, I wouldn't have taken me either. Like at the time, I was more of a goal defence, not a wing defence. You've got Casey Corpora, like, she's come out of retirement, but she was running a 17-something yo-yo. She was fit, she was strong. Then you've got Phoenix, you've got Katrina, Jane. She's not goal defence, goalkeeper, but you've got Jane, and I'm just like, where would you put me? Like, I wasn't really winged at the time. I wouldn't have picked me. So I knew that being named training partner was the next best thing. I was like, right, when Casey leaves, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna take that bib, and I'm gonna really fight for my spot. So it was actually really awesome to be training partner. I was like, look at the team I get to learn off. And I was like, once this cycle finishes, I'm gonna take that bib and I'm gonna move forward. That summer, I'd train the house down. Like, if Guy, the strength and conditioner, said do this, this and this, that's exactly what I did. And my mindset was very strong going into the 2020 in England. I was just all about my processes. I knew what my strengths were, and those are the things I was going to focus on. And I felt good. I remember in our first few trainings, I was getting hands to ball, my feet were moving how I wanted them to move. And then we played our training warm-up game against England A, and I remember feeling this pain in the back of my Achilles, turning and looking, and no one was there. And I've just heard that story so many times, and then straight away I knew what I had done. I knew in my soul I was ready. So to get that taken, it was really hard to process. Going through an Achilles rupture during COVID was tough. I would not recommend that to anybody. I remember the day after I got out of my moon boot, we went into our first big lockdown, so no one really knew what was happening, how long we'd be there. And then I remember the amount of Zooms I had. Mark and Guy, the strength and conditioner and the physio, they needed a pay rise. Like, the amount of time I was taking from them was huge, because none of us had ever done this before, right? We're in like a lockdown, but I need to start moving my Achilles. I need to start getting strength back in my calf. There's so much that I need to do. So I'm on Zoom with them. My dad set up me a bench press made out of scaffold and a block of wood so that I could do weighted calf raises. And then my mum would be there videoing me, so I could send videos to Mark to be like, how does this look? Or am I doing this right? And the amount of conversations that we had, and it was every day. So without those two like guiding me the whole way, I just don't know how I would have got through those times. I just ticked the boxes all along the way, and by like 8.5 months, I was ready to go back to netball. And then luckily enough, I was put in the NZA team because of, I guess, work I'd done previously. I got my fitness right back to where it was. Like, I was looking, feeling I was good. I could move, no issues. Then in my first training game preparing for the 2020 Cadbury series, I ruptured my other Achilles, and it was like not even 9 months after. And I just remember, I've just got like my head in my hands and I'm sobbing, I'm screaming, I'm swearing, I'm yelling. And it wasn't even the pain, it was just, I know exactly what's ahead of me. And I know how hard it is, I know how lonely it is. It's like the loneliest thing you'll ever go through as an athlete. You are watching everyone in your team train and you're off over on your own, doing your own things, and you're just sitting there, they're all having all these conversations that no longer involve you because it's absolutely to do with the game, and you're just there like, I'm useless to this team right now. I love netball. It wasn't a question of like, I'm not gonna rehab it. It just was, I knew how hard it was gonna be. So I always knew that I was gonna rehab because I knew what my potential was, and I knew that I had the strength and resilience to come back. It was just gonna take time. My first rehab, smooth sailing, we ticked all the boxes. My second one, it's like I couldn't tick any box. Running was like a whole month and a half later than the first one. The pain was worse. Everywhere along the way was just horrendous. 7 or 8 months into the rehab, and I was like just started running, jumping, and I got this like really bad pain in my chest, and I went for an MRI, and they found that the joint in my chest, which shouldn't move, was like eroding, like it was eating itself, the bone. And then they were like, oh, you need to go to a rheumatologist. And then I got told that I've got psoriatic arthritis, which is like a autoimmune condition which attacks my joints, tendons, ligaments. And I was like, oh, okay. And then when I went to my rheumatologist, he did an ultrasound on my Achilles. He was like, what does your rehab entail? I was like, oh, jumping, running, this. He was like, stop all of it immediately. Like, your Achilles is so inflamed and so grumpy, like you are on the brink of like rupturing it again. And I just remember sitting there being like, pardon? Like, what? And so what is like normally a 9-month rehab, I think it was like 19 or 18 months of rehabbing, because my body was just in such like inflammation and shock that I needed to just do nothing, get some medication on board, bike, and let it kind of heal.
2021 ANZ Premiership title holders.
I was still vice captain to salute. I went to every single court session. I didn't miss like any. I was the manager on some games because our manager got pregnant. I was assistant coach on some of the games to help Helene. Like, I invested so much into them. Like, I didn't miss a beat, I just didn't play. When I was there in the line, when they got their medals, and I just remember like, I remember getting my medal and I had a handbag on and I just put it in my handbag. I don't even know why it's making me upset. When I got my medal and I put it away, because my brother texted me, because obviously like your family know, like he knew that I went to every training and that I'd like done all this. And he goes, put that medal on, like, you know, you've helped, you haven't played, but like you've helped your team get there. And I just remember like, everyone's out doing signings and like, so I knew that the changing room would be empty. And I just went in there and I just like sobbed and sobbed. I was so happy for the team, but like so heartbroken at the same time, because like anyone who knows me, like I love Mystics, I like bleed blue. It was hard. Yeah, 2023 was a good season. In my opinion, the best season of ANZ I'd ever had. I'd most consistent. I was just so happy with like how I played over the season, and then to finish with a win, like that was nice. I remember being on the bench for like the last kind of 5 minutes with Peta and Phoenix, and just looking at them, because Phoenix didn't get to really play in 2021 either. Like she'd just come back from Parma, and I remember at the start of the season, well actually when they got the medal in 2021, we hugged and we said, that's us, like we're gonna get us a medal for this team. And so we were on the sideline holding hands, being like, we were up enough to celebrate at this point. And I was like, we've done it, like we've got that medal that we wanted. And then running out onto the court and just hugging Sulu and just knowing it's her last game that we've won, like not only just as a team, but for her.
ANZ Premiership champions for 2023, and in what style?
It was excitement and it was joy, and it was just the most amazing feeling, and knowing that everyone in the team got to play and that everyone got to feel like they deserved their medal. Like that was super important for me, making sure that everyone felt that they had contributed. Yeah, that was really nice. There was definitely times I was like, you ain't back in the black dress. After the first Achilles rupture, I was like, and like my whole autoimmune stuff, I was like, I'm gonna be back, like watch me. After the second one and time had progressed, and because in 2022 I didn't play that good netball, I remember thinking, oh, maybe I'm just not that good anymore. Like maybe like, you know, those 2 years of being out, everyone just progressed so much, and like then there's going to be new young players coming through like, oh, you're out ski. So I definitely thought that I wouldn't get a look in. I was very gutted I didn't make the World Cup team. And I remember sitting with my parents after I found out about the bilateral arthritis in the spine, which was only after that 2023 ANZ season. But I couldn't really walk, I couldn't run, and I just remember thinking, man, I wouldn't have been able to play. Like I can hardly walk. Like running, I was crying running. I had to run so I could talk to the doctor about my symptoms. And then I just remember, and then my dad just like held my hand and he's like, do you think it's time to retire? And I'm like, no, like I'm not letting this thing beat me. Like we're gonna figure out a way. Noel sat down next to me and she's like, hey, I just wanna like let you know, like I've selected you in the team, you're gonna be coming. And I just remember saying like, thank you for the opportunity. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if people gave up on me at that level. Like, when you've got an autoimmune disease that like will kick you whenever you give it an opportunity to, when you've had 2 Achilles ruptures, you've got a whole list of other things that set you back. and she knows these things about me, and so I just was like, yeah, like, thank you, like, I will do the best I can, and I will try and do you proud and not make you regret this decision. And I was able to go then to Nations Cup, and I was kind of like injury free, and I had my pain management under control, and I had my autoimmune disease under control, and I was able to just be who I wanted to be. And I know that that's not always the case with me, like there's gonna be things, but to know that in that moment in time she gave me the opportunity, yeah, I just kept saying thank you for the opportunity, and then and every one-on-one, thank you for the opportunity, because I know that that could be the last time. I might never be back there, so I really tried to take each day like, you know, I'm never coming back here. I know that I've got more to give. I know that I can be better. And I think the only thing that keeps me going is my love for the game and my utter stubbornness and determination to be the best netballer I possibly can be.